But trust me, he's going to lose by over 25 million votes. No person who ran for presidency will ever have lost by so many votes in history. And in the future, it'll never be beat, ever. Drumpf will always be known as the greatest loser on earth, the evilest person that ever existed. When we think of Drumpf, we will consider him to be worse than Hitler. Remember during Hitler? People didn't go, "Ooh, Hitler, I hate that name. I can't stand that. Oh, it's such a terrible person." No, they were actually going, "Well, Hitler, he's a pretty good guy." And I'm going to cover a little bit of the process of how Trump is being transformed into an agent of judgment and how that relates to Archangel Michael and the relationship that Archangel Michael has as the senior archangel and what his duties are. When we look at it, there's a lot to Archangel Michael that is to be experienced, inside of humanity. But it's not really something that we experience because it's more in the state of mythology or a state of, some kind of reality that we believe. Yeah, but it may not necessarily be what it is we believe. It's just, right now, it's in a state of mythology. Do angels exist? Is there such thing as an Archangel Michael? Who is he? Historically, he's known as the only one who is known to come to earth. And his process is that he protects humanity, all of humanity, by raising human beings up to become saints. So he's known as Saint Michael, the original saint, and he slays dragons, or what's known as demons. And he's engaged in this throughout time, since the beginning of time. When they speak of Adam and Eve, and they speak of the Lord that was there, that was Archangel Michael. When they speak of the Lord taking birth in Mary, Gabriel was the one who spoke to her and said that the Lord is going to incarnate in your body. That was Archangel Michael. So what would be his reason for incarnating? Well, his reason to incarnate is to destroy all the demons that plague humanity, including all the way to all the fallen angels. And he's also known as the one who will take care of the Antichrist, destroy the Antichrist. Well, what does that mean? He's the leader of God's army of angelic beings. He is the protector of heaven and of God's chosen people. Does that mean Jews? No. It means those who choose God are chosen by God. And he enforces the will of God by battling and subduing the demons, especially Satan. So what happens when Satan incarnates at the time of the Antichrist? Well, it said in Revelation, he is told to battle directly with demonic forces, and according to the book of Revelation, he will prevail against Satan in combat under God's divine strength and power, and will bind him up before God casts him into the eternal lake of fire. What does that mean? Well, we have the Antichrist in front of us. What does he do that makes him the Antichrist? Let's look at Trump. Let's look at the two of them. Christ, who we know to be Archangel Michael, who we know to be an archangel, who we know to be the Son of God. What does he do? you know. He feeds the hungry. He clothes the needy. He houses those who do not have a home. And he heals the sick. That's what Jesus does. That's what saints do. That's what Jesus asked saints to do. What does he ask of you? Those are the only thing he asks for. But what has Trump done? Trump's fruits are pretty obvious. More than 20 women have accused him of rape and sexual assault. Hundreds of contractors, customers, and employees have accused him of stealing from them or refusing to pay them, or both. Even members of his own family. Throughout his presidency, he lied over 30,000 times. He pit Americans against each other by race, by religion, and in an effort to tear our country apart, he weakened the opposition to his authoritarian rule. He openly encouraged violence against unarmed people at multiple rallies and encouraged state violence at a speech to chiefs of police. He tried to overthrow and end our democracy. He embraced murderers, kleptocrats, strongmen, rulers, ridiculing Western democracy and their elected leaders. He hates the police. He hates judges. He tried to damage or dismantle political and military systems designed to keep peace in the world, including the UN, NATO, and Iran JCPOA. He reaches out to Jesus' followers and then directs them toward bigotry, violence, and hatred. As an object of admiration and a role model, he's replaced Jesus in many white evangelical congregations. He delights in learning that children have been taken from their parents and put into cages. He watched on TV like a delighted little child as his followers killed police officers, sent 140 others to the hospital, and tried to murder the vice president and speaker of the House. He lied about COVID, and in so doing, he disclosing the truth to Bob Woodward in February, causing more disease and deaths in America than any other nation in the world. In the Bible, where Jesus explicitly tells his disciples what acts must they perform in their entirety to get into heaven. You must feed the hungry, care for refugees, house and clothe the homeless, heal the sick, and that's it. And it's a list that is quite literally the opposite of everything that Donald Trump advocates and stands for and has done in his career. MAGA means magic or sorcerer in Latin and many other languages. His true name is not Trump. Never has been. The original member in his family was a German called Johann. And his last name was Drumpf. Drumpf, not Trump. He never had the name Trump. His name is Drumpf. He was President Drumpf. He is the head of MAGA, Donald Drumpf. Donald Johann Drumpf. That's his name. Donald Johann Drumpf, not Trump. He armed the Saudis for their merciless bombing war against Yemen, which has 5 million people facing famine, and the Saudi military blocks food arrivals. His family owns 666 Fifth Avenue. He fooled millions of evangelical followers of Jesus, just as the beast was supposed to do. He put his own red hat MAGA mark on their foreheads. His consorts are whores and criminals. That's Donald Trump. And he's going to prison. He's going to jail. He's sitting in court. He won't be let out of court. He is going to go to jail in court because he can't keep his mouth shut. He wants to violate other people, innocent people, police officers, FBI agents, courts, judges. He wants them all dead. He wants judges to go to jail. Can you imagine that? He wants Jack Smith killed. And they ask him, please stop that. Please, we're gonna have to put a muzzle on you. How are we gonna do it? Charge you money like every average person? Well, that's the beginning. $1,000 per one, and that he did, 9 so far. So he gets $9,000 worth of charges. But that won't happen twice. The second time, they take him out of his chair in the court, walk him out the back room, down the hall, down another hall, to a cage. That's called a jail. And he will go in a jail cell less than 500 feet from where he's sitting in the court. And he will remain there day and night while going through court because he can't keep his mouth shut. If he gets out, which he will in 2 to 3 days, he will start again. And this time he'll go in for a month. And it'll keep going like that until he's finally in prison. Whether that happens before he gets to Georgia or when he gets to Florida or when he goes to Washington or wherever he goes, he's on his way to prison because he's Satan. And the police and the courts are all supported by God. They're not corrupt. Americans are not corrupt. They did not overthrow all the Americans for the last 2020 voting system. He tells everybody he had the highest number of votes. But it's not true. He lost by 7 million votes. Biden won. Not only did he win, he got more votes than any other president in history, ever. And that's the truth. It's not the truth, according to Trump, or should we say drumpf, because that's his name. Donald Johann Drumpf. But he doesn't like legal stuff. So he's going to use this, and he's going to try his best to not go to prison. And he's going to act like a little baby, 5, 6, 7 years old, who can't be told to shut up, has to go in the corner, put a little dunce hat on, sit in a chair and sleep and fart and make noise. As the judge just says, lawyers, can you please control that kid? The judge says, you are losing all credibility. And he says that in front of the jury. Trump lost by 7 million votes in 2020. He lost by 2.5 million votes to Clinton. He lost. According to the votes, he lost. He has never won, ever. If it wasn't for the electoral ballot, which he was going to overturn because he didn't get it last time, and there's a really big question whether or not he got it in 2016. But trust me, he's going to lose by over 25 million votes. No person who ran for presidency will ever have lost by so many votes in history. And in the future, it'll never be beat. Ever. Drumpf will always be known as the greatest loser on earth. The evilest person that ever existed. When we think of Drumpf, we will consider him to be worse than Hitler. Remember during Hitler? People didn't go, "Ooh, Hitler, I hate that name. I can't stand that. Oh, it's such a terrible person." No, they were actually going, "Well, Hitler, he's a pretty good guy." King of England, he was into Hitler. That's why he quit. Not because he married an American, but because he was a Nazi. The King of England. So he had to quit. So in the future, when you hear the word drumpf, you're only going to think of evil, just like you do with Hitler. You'll be reminded in your schools that he killed more people in the whole world during the coronavirus. He personally killed them. He set them up with lies and illusion in order to cover up the bad news, allowing people to just die, not get their vaccines, even though he said he got them out faster than anybody else. Was that a good idea? Come to find out, it wasn't. So Trump is in his process. He's in court. Think of that as jail with the ability to get out in the evening and go do shit. Go make media appearances, at the race car place or a football game or anything like that, in order that he can get people to take pictures of him and say, "Look how free he is." These courts aren't bothering the strength of drumpf. He's so powerful, it doesn't faze him. But it's not true. He's falling asleep. He's so weak. He's farting his ass off. His lawyers can't stand sitting near him. So that's enough about Trump. This is where he's at. He goes back into court tomorrow. His Trump media has tanked from $72, went down to $22, went back up to 36, and now it's at 41. And it will go back down to somewhere around $10 in the next 6 months. He's put out fake money. Fake money. He put out $1,000 bills saying all you got to do is pay me $99.99, and I'll give you $1,000 bill. He's right. His followers are the stupidest people on planet Earth. But what else does he say? He says, well, in a few months, you could take this to Costco, to Walmart, to any bank, and they'll give you $10,000 for your $99 investment. How smart are you? Now you're rich. You better buy a lot. You'll have $1 million if you buy $1,000 worth. Stupid is as stupid does. The red hat, that's getting old. So now he's going to a black hat. A black hat. He's selling black hats now. MAGA black hats.